Hey guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for today. In this video, I wanted to address not so much the elephant in the room, but more of like the lose-lose situation, or lose-lose-lose. I don't know. Any way you look at it, I lose. Situation that I've always find myself in with these mic rotation or guide rotation videos, and that's focusing on my usage of super speed. Now, there was like I've been doing these guide videos since 2018. It's what the community knows me for. It's not exactly what I would say. I wouldn't say myself what I'm known for in terms of guides, but that's what the community sees me for, so that's fine. But, there was a time where I didn't use any movement modes. I didn't use any iconic powers because I was trying to appease everyone. It's like, okay, this is going to be a quantum video, so I'm only going to use quantum abilities, or this is a munitions video, I'm only going to use munitions powers. You know where that got me? That got me the community saying, well, don't use Obsidian's rotations, they're garbage. He doesn't show you the top one. Which is true. I mean, I'm not, because I'm trying to make everyone happy. And then there was a time where I was adding like extra clips where like, okay, so if you're super speed, use this. If you're accurate, use this. And it's tacking on like 10, 50 minutes to every single video. There's times where, you've got powers like just like precision, where it's all super speed. And like, well, and then every single comment's like, what if I'm not super speed? What if I'm flight? What if I'm skimming? Well, my entire goal with this channel is to make you a better player, to improve your skills in DCUO or Online. I do the testing that no one wants to do. As soon as artifacts come out, I'm detailing them from my perspective, so I can tell you whether or not they're going to be worth it or not. Same thing with allies. I do all this. This is what I want to do to make you better players. And it's not even like an opinion. You are a worse player. You're giving yourself a huge disadvantage if you aren't super speed. I don't look at it as, oh, this is a superhero game, so like if you don't like being the Flash, you want to like fly through the skies as Superman, or swing through buildings like Batman, or fly around on discs like Static Shock. That doesn't concern me. I don't care about that. I am super speed because of the massive advantages it gives you. And just take a look at it here. I'll even link in the video. I'll show up on the screen here. I've already done the math. I've tested every single movement mode ability: skimming, flight, acro, super speed, multiple times, dozens of times, to get the base damage and critical damage. And I've charted and graphed it all. I've already done this. I've also spoken up on the forums plenty of times saying super speed needs to get fixed. So taking a look at here. So we got Vortex Trap, which is already top tier for melee damage, and you can weapon tap cancel out of it anytime. You got Cyclone Push, which is good mid-range damage. It's almost the same as Vortex Cannon for gadgets. The only downside is the animation, that's why you always clipped it with Turret or like invisibility, or when Mental uses it. Tornado Pull is the highest base damage single target ability in the entire game. That's why you see like Rage Prec and a lot of DPS use this as their clipping power with their weapon buff. Because even as Prec, it doesn't matter. It hits so hard because it's literally the highest base damage single target move in the entire game, and it's on a super speed movement tree. Dash attack is very useful as a supercharge. I still prefer Perfect Poise as acrobatics, but dash attack has its advantages in terms of its dashing speed with being able to kite better. Speed drain is an amazing 2500. Just put the dot up. I mean, acrobatics is the bat flip, like the front flip, back flip. It's not practical. You have vacuum bubble with flight, or I guess the gale is the counterpart with skimming, but at the same time, those are incredible tight cones, and it's really hard to get consistent damage out of that vacuum bubble and gale. Then you got Phase Dodge. Phase Dodge is the strongest shield, like by far, like night and day in this game. When I was testing Corona in survival mode, 3 million damage I blocked with Phase Dodge. And even before they fixed it with Darkstar War Factory, Phase Dodge would tank the Omega Beam. You wouldn't die if you used Phase Dodge. So, and then you come to Whirling Dervish, which is already one of the highest base damage powers on single target, 3 target, and 8 target. And you can weapon tap cancel it and use the dashing combos foot mod, which I'll show in a sec. So, it's just so many advantages. So, with this dashing foot mod, which some people, you have to be aware of using this as well. But yeah, I can cancel Dervish at any time and then get more damage with dashing combo. So if I just go up, I'm going to hit Phase Dodge into dashing combo. So you see only the damage from dashing combos. So I'm going to Phase Dodge, dashing combo out of it. So if we go to my logs, just using that foot mod, 18k, 20k, 18k, 20k. That's just the foot mod. That's not even like the Dervish damage on top of it. I'm literally getting all this damage, like over 80k damage just from a foot mod. And I can use that on any ability. I can use that to cancel off Vortex Trap. I can use that to cancel off on Dervish. It's the same thing. I can literally go into Dervish, cancel anytime I want, right, and get the free damage with dashing combos. Doesn't matter. Vortex Trap. So even if I do like a little rotation here, let's cancel. Stop that. Let's wait for the. Let's wait for the strategy card to stop ticking. So just only using super speed abilities. Let's see it ends up working where it parses at. Whatever. I mean, I stopped early, but 1.5 damage. We'll do it again. So I have to wait for the strat card to stop ticking. So what am I? I'm at 1.6, 1.7 mil, and I'm only just messing around with super speed abilities. So if I'm going to like save, I'm going to pop to like acrobatics. If we're looking at the acrobatics tree, so we've got zip tie attack and grapple line. Those are actually good, but they're single target abilities and they're 3-second cooldowns. Backflip attack, same thing, you have to be melee. Same thing with devastating flip, you have to be within melee range for it. How practical is that? I mean, throwing knives, again, like a 3-second range power that you can replicate with any kind of ability. Perfect poise is like the only good thing, and that's the actual supercharge for the shield. And I didn't even so going to like flight. Flight is the slowest in combat speed. Like if you're, I'd have to redo my weapon here. I don't know. Was I dual wield? I was dual wield. So if I'm in combat fighting a boss and trying to move around, like this is how slow I'm moving around. Just slowly floating until I can get up into actual like fast movement. And then if I want to use what am I? Like I think whirlwind attack is like the only thing that's whirlwind attack. So this is like the only thing I can use as flight. And same thing, I can't like cancel out of it. I'm basically just stuck in there. In that slow whirlwind. Compared to like Dervish with Vortex Trap. And even going, let me get out of combat speed here. I forgot to show what I was going to talk about with super speed. Okay. Finally, I'm out of combat. So if I'm in super speed, it doesn't matter. I'll get myself in combat and it'll do the same thing. I can toggle in and out of super speed in combat. Like, you wonder why all these DPS are jumping ahead of you on like ads on the hallways? It's because I can just keep zooming around like this. Doesn't matter if I'm in combat. I can cover this whole area in combat, being attacked by ads to the next ad wave or the next group of ads, and then lunge in with a power. There's no other ability that can do that in any kind of the movements. That's a giant advantage in raids, especially when you're in hallway fights, so you're not lagged behind and slow down in content. So it's just, I really, like I said before, it's a lose-lose-lose. I don't know how to help you guys. You get the same questions in each one of my guides. What if I'm flight? What if I'm super speed? Like, what if I'm, acrobatics? I can't use Dervish. Well, just don't use Dervish. Use another ability. I can't, I'm not going to tack on like 5-10 minutes to every single video to show you like each little step. Okay, if you don't use Dervish, your flight, acrobatics, use this. Just pick another ability. It doesn't matter because you're still going to be doing less damage than you would have been doing with Dervish. So what's the point? If you're saying, what if I'm flight? Use another move. That simple as that. Just pick one. Doesn't matter. You're still going to be doing less damage. That doesn't change the fact that at the end of the day, This is not something we should concerning me with. Go on the forums, get the developers to change the movement. And before you say, well, it's not super speed, just buff the other, buff flight, buff skimming, and buff acrobatics when there's just as powerful super speed. Don't nerf super speed. What is the point of that? The whole point is that we don't want to be using movement mode and iconic powers to DPS with. If you're thinking like the GU36 days or even the AM days, no one was using heat vision, like sonic cry, freezing breath. No one was using these like joke gimmick powers. They were using actual power set abilities. No one would ever have thought to use any of these iconic powers, especially not super speed abilities, just phase dodge. And even then it was nerfed to the 16 point seconds, GU32, I believe it was. But no one was concerning themselves with any of these abilities. We used Knee Venom Boost, that's about it. Just as something extra. Knee Venom Boost didn't used to be a supercharge. But like no one was using these gimmicky friggin' powers. The only time they used Clown Box was just to exploit and like throw in the dead. No one's using throwing knives, freezing breath, sonic shout. It's stats revamp that brought these to get into light because there's so many power sets that have like just lackluster abilities that just are like low tuned. So you have to use heat vision on might single target. You have to use sonic cry for like setting up daze and 360 degree damage. You have to using dervish just because you can clip out of it, and not to mention the prick side of it as well. That's just taking like the might side. So it's stats revamp that has done this, and we have to tone these down so that we can go back to using our regular power set abilities. I'm not using this because I like super speed or I like being the Flash themed or whatever. I'm doing this because I want to show you the best advantages available to you. And if you want to care about your DPS, if that's why you're watching my guides, then you're going to have to go super speed. And it's not, because of Dervish, it's just there's a list, like I said, a whole list of advantages that super speed offers you. And if you don't like that, go in the forums and say, this isn't right. It isn't right that super speed can have massive advantages over every movement mode. Because you're right. And this is what I've been trying to get changed for years. It's just so far down on the developers, wish list to make changes. But like I said, if they change Dervish, if they change Vortex Trap, Tornado Pull, Phase Dodge, if they change those, that has a massive impact on the game. Think of all the stuff that's the changes. Prec DPS can't use Vortex and Dervish. They can't use Tornado Coil. They can't use Phase Dodge to clip, stuff like that. So, if they can't use it, my DPS can't use Dervish or Cyclone Push on abilities, stuff like that. If we can't use those, Speed Drain, whatever, if all those abilities are weakened, then we have to actually go back to the drawing board for the first time in years and create some new rotations and change it up. And that's what is healthy for the game. So, I don't know what to tell you. I'm still going to be using Dervish. Like I said, it's one power. It's not like I'm filling all my rotations up. That's why Gadgets and Mental is going to have to wait till like the very end because of you guys all wanting Gadgets guys and stuff like that, because Gadgets and Mental heavily use super speed. Using Gadgets doesn't necessarily need it, but it does use Cyclone Push. It does use Tornado Pull and like stealth loadouts. Mental uses Vortex Trap and Dervish. So it's just there's some abilities that rely on the super speed abilities because of how strong they are. So, like I said before, go on the forums, tweet devs, whatever you want to do, just get attention to it, get them to change it, because this is what has to happen for us to move forward, at least on this aspect of the game. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that are bigger issues that have to be addressed, but I'm bringing this up because every single guide I make, you're going to see the same comments. And, like I said, it's a lose-lose for me. There's nothing I can do about it. So, take it or leave it, guys. I just had to get this off my chest and just let you guys know from my perspective. So, we can carry on this conversation in the comment section. Take care. We'll see you in the next video.